meeting will come to order. Is this mic on, folks? Yes. Okay. I now declare the annual town meeting for the town of Stockbridge for the year 2022 duly open for the business. Can't hear. Testing. Okay. I now declare this meeting duly open to the transaction of all business that should properly be presented. Before we start, I would just like to make a note that this will be one of our Finance Committee members' final meeting. He has decided to retire after this meeting, and I would encourage a nice round of applause for the many years Neil Holden has put in as a board member. As you know, the Finance Committee is one of our non-paid positions, and we really do thank all those who donate all their time for the benefit of the town. I'd like to pass on a message from our chairman of the Health Board. Charlie Kenny has informed me that masks are not required, so if you don't have one on, don't feel bad if you're vaccinated. However, if you're not vaccinated, please get a mask from out back there and wear it tonight. Thank you. Now proceed to business. Article 1.
I move that the following officers be chosen for the year commencing July 1, 2022. Fence viewers, Gary Johnston and Christopher B. Marsden. Measurers of wood, William Markham and Mark Fatting. Measurers of coal, H. Lyndon Searing and Nicholas F. Nadorf. Weighers of sand and gravel, John Jake Donovan and Clinton Schneier. Field drivers, Louis Perron.
Thank you. Do I hear a second? Second. You couldn't hear that? You want to repeat it? Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me now? We have feedback though. I move that the following officers be chosen for the year commencing July 1, 2022. Fence viewers, Gary Johnston and Christopher B. Marsden. Measurers of wood, William Markham and Mark Fatting. Measurers of coal, H. Lyndon Searing and Nicholas F. Nadorf. Weighers of sand and gravel, John Jake Donovan and Clinton Schneier. Field drivers, Louis Perron.
Now do I hear a second? Second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Now, this is a good time to have Ron from Turning Technologies explain how to use the clicker. And since you all know I missed last meeting due to some hospitalization, I'd like to listen very carefully.
Thank you very much, Gary. For some of you, this might be old hat. You probably may be already familiar if you utilized this technology and were here with us last year. It is a very, very simple procedure, and I'm going to do my best not to oversimplify it for you. Everything tonight will be provided with 2 voting options. On your keypad, you will press 1 for yes or 2 for no. If you wish to abstain, you simply abstain and don't press a button. Right now, I have polling in what is referred to as a test mode, meaning you can now press 1 or 2 on your keypad. And when you do so, you will see the number 1/A or number 2/V corresponding with your vote, along with the green light. And that light and indication will dissipate immediately. I cannot emphasize this enough. Please just use those 2 buttons. There are some other buttons that may come into question, but most notably the buttons on the bottom, the channel button and the question mark, do not. And I repeat, do not press those. If you do, you're basically telling the keypad that you want to change frequencies, which we don't want to do. But equally as important you're actually freezing your ability to vote for 6 seconds because it's thinking you're trying to change the channel on your keypad. So again, just press 1 for yes or 2 for no. When I turn the mic back to Gary, I will close polling. And so if you go to press 1 or 2 and you don't see that green indication, simply put, that's because polling is closed. We will announce when polling is open, and from there you will have 20 seconds to vote. I will offer a verbal countdown from back here when there is 5 seconds remaining. One other note, you can vote as often as you like, but 2 things to keep in mind. For as vociferous and supportive you may be of a certain issue, no matter how many times you press 1 or press 2, it will only count once. To that end, it only counts your last vote. So if by chance you accidentally press the wrong button, you can change your vote. As long as polling opens, it will acknowledge your last vote. If you have any problems with your keypad, say you don't have a working display, feel free to return it in exchange for another keypad. Does anyone have any questions? Very good. Again, thank you very much for your cooperation.
In the unlikeliness of a tie vote, that's the only time I have to vote. So I'm not really going to bother with that, but I think I understand it pretty well. With that, we'll move on to Article 2.
I move that the town accept all printed reports of town officers and committees as published in the annual report.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 2, please say aye.
Aye.
At this point, maybe we should vote.
Go right ahead. Polling is
Okay,
open.
let's, this is another test. All those in favor, please press number 1. Or number 2. I didn't hear any nays the first time.
Polling is open. You have 15 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The vote was 98 to 1. This is much more accurate, I can tell already. Article number 3.
I move that the town, pursuant to Chapter 41, Section 108 of the Massachusetts General Laws, fix the annual salary and compensation of all elected officers of the town for the fiscal year commencing on July 1, 2022, as follows. Moderator, $242. Select Board Chair, $5,552. 2 other Select Board members, $4,545 each, for a total of $9,090. Town Clerk, $47,756. Board of Assessors Chair, $3,987. 2 members of the Board of Assessors, each at $3,193, for a total of $6,386. Tree Warden, $2,252.
Article 3 has been read. Did I hear a second?
Second.
And seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 3, please say aye. Nope.
No.
Please press your polling's open. Please press your clicker. It's going to take me a while,
A
folks.
lot of years doing that.
20 seconds. 5 seconds. Polling is closed.
And the vote?
98-1.
The count again was 98-1. I've only been doing this job for about 45 years, so I expect that by Article 45 I'll remember about the clickers. Article 4.
Thank you, Moderator Johnson. I want to be sure that everybody can hear me clearly. I'm Jay Bykowski, the chair of the Finance Committee, and I just wanted to mention to everybody here how important and appreciative we are of your attendance and participation at this evening's meeting. And I move Article 4 that the town raise and appropriate a sum of $7,957,779 to defray the expenses of the various departments of the town for fiscal year commencing July 1, 2022, in accordance with the recommendations of the Finance Committee.
Article 4 has been read. Is there a second?
Second.
And seconded. Is there any discussion? Jay, would you like to address?
Please. I thought I'd take, this is important, this is the operating budget, take a few minutes to run through it for everybody. And before I discuss briefly the operating budget for fiscal year 23, I'd like to introduce our Finance Committee and particularly thank them for their continued participation, interest, and dedication throughout the year on financial matters that come before our town. Stephen Schatz, Neil Holden, Diane Rouse, Jim Bolfans, Pam Beaudreau, and Bill Vogt. I'd also like to thank our town administrator, Michael Canales, and his superb, and I say it, I repeat myself, I'm old, I can, his superb staff for their exemplary efforts on behalf of our town, as well as Select Board Chair Roxanne McCaffrey, Selectman Chuck Cardillo, and Selectman Patrick White for their continued leadership, support, and collegial working relationship with our committee in the best interest of the town of Stockbridge. Article number 4. The total proposed fiscal year 23 operating budget minus education is, as I said previously in the motion, $7,957,779, which represents an increase of $400,035 over last year, fiscal year 22. And for all of our departments, we have two basic caveats. Fiscal year 23, we have budgeted salary increases between 2 and 3%, dependent upon contracted merit increases, and overall budgeted increase in fuel costs, dear to everybody. That's for these departments, $50,100 to be shared by the town offices, the police department, the fire department, the highway department, cemetery, as well as water and sewer. Now, we have a number of categories. This isn't going to take very long. I just want to run through it for the record. General government. We note increases over fiscal year 22 for the new year of $11,000 for selectmen expenses, $5,000 of which is for the Cultural Council, and $6,000 for department head training. Also under general government, we noticed $21,000 increase for the Conservation Commission peer review process. Also $40,000 for the Stockbridge Bowl stewardship, and $20,000 increase over last year for information technology. This is with us right till the end, folks. The next major section is public safety. We have an increase of $89,981 for an additional police officer. That's to cover our overtime, vacation, and investigative issues, as well as deal with mental health problems, which is becoming more and more of an issue for police departments nationally. And also under public safety, we note an increase of $25,485 for ambulance services. That's as a result of the cost to recruit paramedics and other salaries, as well as increased number of calls, vehicle maintenance, and fuel costs. The next major category is public works, an increase of $20,000 for highway machinery. Human resources, we noted a decrease of $23,966 for Council on the Aging, because this function has been combined with other towns, notably Great Barrington. Culture and recreation, an increase of $13,692 for the library. Debt service has finally become a payable issue for fiscal year 23 for the Chime Tower, as well as principal and interest to the amount of $56,500. Employee benefits, increased cost of $38,424 for Berkshire County retirement, and unclassified expenses, town insurance, $16,949. That's property, public officials' liability, and all the things we need to go to work. So, therefore, again, the town revenue receipts, it's interesting to note, have increased $699,318, increased over fiscal year 22, and also the operating budget has seen a credit for an unfilled facilities director position of $33,457. To sum it up, and I'm done, fiscal year 23 operating budget minus education is a proposed increase of $400,035 to $7,957,799 over fiscal year 22 for your consideration.
Thank you, Jay. Is there any discussion? Yes. Actually, a good time to get this groundwork set up. Anyone who's going to speak from the audience has to come up and use this mic so that it can be recorded and the audio will come through on the television.
I would like to know why the assistant administrator's salary went up above the administrator's salary.
New responsibility.
Who was that one?
State our name.
Could you repeat that and also state your name and your address, please?
Shirley Miller, 2 Elm Street, Stockbridge. I wondered why the assistant administrator is getting, his new salary will be $108,000, which is above the town administrator's salary, which only went up to $103,000. That doesn't make any sense to me.
I'm not sure what she's looking at.
Mike.
Increase the giant raise.
Yeah. That is selectmen expenses is $108,000. The town administrator's salary is $103,000.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was on the wrong line.
So, yes, 2 different subjects.
Okay, sorry.
Anyone else?
My name is Laura DeBester. I would like to I didn't know that the Council on Aging position was going to be combined with Great Barrington. Maybe there's been discussion of that at a select board meeting or something like that, and I'm just remiss in not knowing about that. Do you know? So the question is I want to know how really, a little bit about how that's going to be managed and if there's going to be kind of an evaluation, because it seems to me that there's a lot of issues, whether it's the Council on Aging or families or young people, where we could really be much more proactive in meeting the needs and have a lot more initiatives. So I'm wondering what's going to happen with that.
At this time, we've combined, I'm having Teresa Zanetti's going to be operating as the Council on Aging Director, all as part of her duties. So we combined the positions together to oversee the Council on Aging. So we have an active board that is working right now, a working group that's working right now on getting the Council on Aging back up and running. So that's where we stand at this point.
So anyone should contact Teresa if they have an issue? Transportation is shared. Everything else, Teresa's
Laura, we
handling.
combined transportation. We didn't combine the position management.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, please press 1. All opposed, please press 2.
20 seconds. Polling is closed.
'89 in favor, 8 opposed. Motion is carried. Article 5.
Hello. I move that the town raise and appropriate a sum of $3,501,086 for the assessment of the Berkshire Hills Regional School District. And I see Peter Dillon is here in case there are any questions.
Article 5 has been moved, and is there a second? Seconded. Is there any discussion? Sally?
Sally Underwood Miller, 10 Rattlesnake Mountain Road. I just want to know how many students we have at Berkshire Hills.
118.
118 is the answer to Sally's question. Any further discussion? Yes. Matt?
Matthew Chester, 5 Church Street. So as a parent of a future, this fall kindergartner, I'm in support of this, but I did wonder sort of how the numbers come to be as to who will be entering Berkshire Hills. I know we have parents we've talked to, and we know, for example, their kids are not going to be entering, but they are kids that live in Stockbridge who have kindergarten-age children as of this fall. And so my wife and I were just wondering how those numbers come to be as to incoming students.
I don't believe we count students who don't enroll, do we?
Yeah. Peter? Thank you.
So I'm Peter Dillon. I'm the school superintendent. I also live on Church Street. We count the students that enroll. There's some students that go to independent schools, and that maybe is what you're referring to, and they don't count in our total in the school, but they do play a role in some other federal funding formulas.
Yeah, I guess the question was when I saw the article from the Berkshire Eagle that X number, I think it was 7 students were new, I was thinking in my head, I don't know that I've enrolled yet for kindergarten for the fall, so how is that number determined?
Yeah, so what he's asking about is how we determine the enrollment number. In public schools in Massachusetts, we base next year's assessment on the previous year's October 1st enrollment. So that's just a date that we use. It's arbitrary because the numbers go up and down throughout the year, but we use October 1st of the previous year.
Thank you, Peter. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote on Article 5. All those in favor, please press 1. All those opposed, please press 2.
15 seconds. 5 seconds. Polling is closed.
Article 5 was carried by a count of 93 in favor, 10 opposed. Article 6.
I move that the town raise and appropriate a sum of $90,447 to pay the town's share of the principal and interest due in the fiscal year commencing July 1, 2022 for the financing of the Berkshire Hills Regional School District school building construction projects.
Do I hear a second? Article 6 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please press 1. All those opposed, please press 2.
20 seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Yes, 94. No, 10.
Article 6 has been passed with a vote of 94 in favor, 10 opposed. Article 7.
I move that the sum of $4 million to pay costs. Do we need the raise and appropriate in there? I move that the town raise and appropriate the sum of $4 million to pay costs of restoration of the following town infrastructure issues: the Tuckerman Bridge, Averick Road Bridge, fire engine, salt shed, pump station, and all incidental and related costs to be spent under the direction of the Board of Selectmen. The money so appropriated to be raised by borrowing under the authority of General Law, Chapter 44, Section 7, parentheses 1 and paren, or any other enabling authority, and to authorize the town treasurer, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, to issue bonds or notes for this purpose.
Article 7 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Richard, thank you. I was going to ask the people that speak into the mic over there, you're more than 6 feet from anyone else. If you could remove your masks when you speak into the mic, it will make it much clearer for everyone.
I'm Richard Seltzer. I live at 88 Interlaken Road. I live about 3/4 of a mile from Interlaken Crossroad, where there's a bridge that has been out of service, blocked even to pedestrian travel for at least 5 or 6 years now, with no sign of new construction going on. The mechanical services, water service have been moved to an adjacent structure last year, but nothing has been done to improve the vehicular bridge. And I don't see that listed as an anticipated expense for next year. What is the town's plan for repairing and restoring the Interlaken Crossroads Bridge, please?
Roxanne?
Yeah, I can address that. That has been under discussion, Richard. Not lined up? Okay. Everyone here? It's been under discussion in select board meetings over a long period of time, probably for at least the last year. That at some point, that bridge was designated as a historic bridge, which is problematic. So at the current time, Michael Canales is looking into getting an updated costing. All the engineering had been done for that, and I believe it came in at $1.7 million. However, it needs to be approved by the Massachusetts Historic Commission. So we're getting updated costing on that, and we do have to run that by and get permission to go through with the as it was designed, which basically is pretty much how it's looked. It's got the stone facing, and also the wing walls will be concrete, poured concrete with stone facing. So it's underway.
Will you be submitting a plan for approval by the state this year?
We should be. Michael, do you know the time frame? No, we don't have it, but it'll be soon.
And let's just be clear, though, because the town accepted money from the Historical Commission, like, what was it, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
And $50,000, they get veto over whether or not we can build the modern bridge rather than restore the historic bridge at a cost maybe 4 times higher than that. That's why this has been held up, is we're trying to figure out how to build the thing in a way that doesn't cost us $6 to $8 million to restore brick for brick a historic bridge.
Right.
You know?
Well, the quote-unquote historic bridge is not necessarily a historic bridge. It was actually built, I think it was redone somewhere around 1980, but they did have it designated and they did accept monies, so that is the problem area that we're dealing with.
This was years ago, too.
Yeah, but we've been working on this for a while, so it should be relatively soon.
Thank you. Any further discussion on John?
Having not asked this question when we moved from the old town hall to this one, and we were asked to spend $7.9 million for this building, which, if you look into town records, has cost us well over the $7.9 million. I'm wondering if we can break down the different items that you guys are talking about: Tuckerman Bridge, Averitt Road, fire engine, especially the salt shed. It looks like it can survive. Pump station and all related issues. Can it get broken down?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes and no. I mean, look, the reason we put them together, John, is because costs are all over the place right now, where some things are coming in close to what they might have been bid out at a year ago, you know, when we're getting the 70% cost estimates, and some things are coming in at 2 or 3 times. So, you know, it's really a very difficult time to know the exact amount that any given thing is going to cost. So what we figured we would do is prioritize and start going down the list, and if prices go up a significant amount, then we would not necessarily have to, for the most important projects, come back to town meeting. And if had they been individually, you know, authorized, you know, we got to do all those things, and we're hoping $4 million is enough to do it. Yeah.
Yes, we do have an estimated breakdown, which we will read.
Not to belabor the situation, FYI, Tuckerman's Bridge, the estimated construction cost is $1,750,000, and in addition to which there are $330,000 design cost. Averitt Road Bridge 2, number 2, $1.2 million. The fire engine in this article, $750,000. We have applied the chief Garofoli for an $820,000 grant. We will not know till the end of the year whether or not that is granted. If it is granted, these monies will be put into a stabilization fund. If not, we will need the $750 plus the $250 in the next article to buy a fire engine. That's what they cost, $1 million. The salt shed, if you've been to the transfer station, needs to be replaced. It's deteriorated. $400,000 with design cost of $48,000. And the pump station at Park Street, we approved that project last year. We've gone out for construction estimates, and we've come back with an additional $200,000 in construction cost. So all that means is $4.678 million, and we do get a small bridge grant and construction grant of $585,000. The net is $4,093,000 for those projects, and we await the results of the fire engine grant. Mr. Moderator.
Thank you, Jay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to click. All those in favor of Article 7, please press 1. All those opposed, please press 2. Article 7 has been passed. Those in favor, 99. Opposed, 9. Article 8.
I move that the town transfer and appropriate the sum of $250,000 from available certified free cash for the purpose of funding the replacement of a fire engine for the Stockbridge Fire Department.
Article 8 has been moved. And?
Second.
Always have to have a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 8, please click 1. Opposed, click 2. Article 8 has passed by a count of 96 to 10. Article 9.
I move that the town hereby approves the $1,500,000 borrowing authorized by the Berkshire Hills Regional School District for the purpose of paying costs of the feasibility and schematic design study for the Monument Mountain Regional High School located at 600 Stockbridge Road at Great Barrington, Mass., including the payment of all costs incidental or related thereto, the study, and for which the district may be eligible for a school construction grant from the Massachusetts School Building Authority, MSBA, said amount to be expended at the direction of the Berkshire Hills Regional School District School Building Committee, that the town acknowledges that the MSBA's grant program is a non-entitlement discretionary program based on need as determined by the MSBA, and any study costs and the district incurs in excess of any grant approved by and received from the MSBA shall be the sole responsibility of the district and its member municipalities. Provided further that any grant that district may receive from the MSBA for the study shall be as set forth in the feasibility study agreement that may be executed between the district and the MSBA, and that the amount of borrowing authorized by the district shall be reduced by any grant amount set forth in the feasibility study agreement that may be executed between the district and the MSBA. So that was a mouthful. This basically is a $1.5 million borrowing, and that includes everyone in the school district. And I think Peter Dillon has the exact amount, but I believe our share is 400 plus. Jay has it?
It's 32.1% or $481,800 for the town of Stockbridge.
Did everyone hear that?
Just to repeat, the share for the town of Stockbridge of that $1.5 million is 32.1% or $481,800, Stockbridge's share.
Is there any discussion? We have a second. Thank you. Is there any discussion on Article 9? Seeing none, proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 9, please click 1. Opposed, click 2. Article 9 has been approved by a count of 97 in favor, 14 opposed. Article 10.
I move that the town create a new special purpose Stabilization Fund pursuant to MGL 40, Section 5B, for the purpose of funding the remaining debt service payment for the town offices, principal and interest, the water treatment plant, principal and interest, should the funding for the new regional high school by the Berkshire Hills Regional School District be approved, and to transfer and appropriate from the town's general stabilization fund available funds a sum of $1,243,100 to fund said stabilization fund.
Article 10 has been moved. Did I hear a second? And seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. Before we vote, I would like to note, because this is money from the stabilization fund, it requires a 2/3 majority. And I'm going to ask Ron, does your computer give us the percentage? Thank you very much. With that, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 10, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
15 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Yes, 98. No, 11.
Percentage?
98 to 11.
We love this technology. Article 10 was passed, 98 in favor, 11 opposed, for an 89.91% approval. Article 11.
I move that the town transfer and appropriate the sum of $325,350 from the available cemetery trust fund balance for the purpose of contracting service to preserve, repair, and restore the monument stones at the Stockbridge Cemetery.
Article 11 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
15 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Voting is closed. Yes, 97. No, 12.
Article 11 has passed, 97 in favor, 12 opposed. Article 12.
I move that the town transfer and appropriate a sum of $385,206 from available certified free cash for the purpose of paying the remainder of the sewer system expansion and update project authorized by Article 3 of the special town meeting of April 1st, 2002.
Article 12 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
15 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Yes, 97. No, 8.
Article 12 has been passed, 97 in favor, 8 opposed. And when we get to vote on Article 13, I'd like to announce that Ron has determined that the voting is coming in so rapidly that we're wasting precious seconds here tonight. And he's going to shorten the vote time to 15 seconds.
I move that the town transfer and appropriate a sum of $340,000 from available certified free cash for the purpose of purchasing for the Highway Department 2 mid-sized trucks with plow and sander and all incidental and related costs.
Article 13 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 13, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Yes, 97. No, 10.
Article 13 has passed. 97 in favor, 10 opposed. Article 14.
She gets to read the big trucks. I'm stuck with the backhoe. I move that the town transfer and appropriate a sum of $100,000 from available certified free cash for the purpose of purchasing for the Highway Department a backhoe and all incidental and related costs.
Article 14 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 14, please press 1. Article 14 opposed, press 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Yes, 99. No, 8.
Article 15. Article 14 has passed 99 to 8.
Article 15. I move that the town transfer and appropriate a sum of $55,000 from available certified free cash for the purpose of purchasing for the Highway Department a Ford F-350 or equivalent.
Article 15 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Yes, 94. No, 15.
Article 15 has passed. Those in favor, 94. Those opposed, 15. Article 16.
I move that the town transfer and appropriate a sum of $50,000 from available certified free cash for the purpose of purchasing for the Highway Department a Bobcat L28 articulating tool carrier or equivalent and all incidental and related costs.
Article 16 has been moved and anybody second it? Second. This must be my bad ear. If we can go
I'll give it louder.
Is there any discussion? Richard?
Our highway department is responsible for the maintenance and operation of a weed harvester that's used annually on Stockbridge Bowl. Last year, the weed harvester, while in operation, capsized and sank, and I'm wondering, not seeing any mention in the budget yet, what are the plans for repairing, restoring, and getting the weed harvester back on Stockbridge Bowl?
Didn't sink, Richard.
Richard, that's not germane to this article. We can bring that up at the end of the meeting, but I'm not going to recognize it now.
Well, I only was raising it because we're dealing with a series of articles.
I understand, Richard.
Bobcats, trucks.
I understand, Richard, but it's out of order. Any further discussion on Article 16? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 16, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Yes, 91.
Article 16 has passed. 91 yes, 16 no. Article 17.
I move that the town transfer and appropriate the sum of $50,000 from available certified free cash for the purpose of conducting a hydrological study of the Campusa Bog.
Is there a second?
Second.
Article 17 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Yes.
Nina Ryan, 3 Main Street. I just wondered what the purpose of the study is.
Patrick?
There's a concern with the climate-driven weather events that we're seeing, especially around the amount of rain, as well as beaver activity that seems to increase as the rain increases, to try to sort of take advantage of the weather conditions that the bogs stay healthy. You know, when Mrs. Spencer was alive, she did a great job running the Campusa Bog Stewardship Commission, and one of the things we want to try to do over the next year is to revive that. It's been, you know, sort of not really very active for the last 10 years, and as part of that, we want to start off by getting a study done to ensure that, you know, that we understand the water conditions and the corresponding threats to the bog.
You have to go to the mic, Nina. No one heard that.
I just didn't hear that you mentioned reviving a commission, but I didn't understand what commission you said.
In the 90s and the early 2000s, there was a very active effort. There's like 15 stakeholders in Campusa Bog. There's a bunch of different landowners. There are nonprofits. There's the state transportation. There's the state endangered species group. There was a commission that took all of those interests and focused on the bog. You know, that's the only calcareous fens in all of Massachusetts. It's a very special place with a whole bunch of endangered species. So we kind of all got together to make sure it was well stewarded, and then, you know, people, you know, moved on literally and figuratively, and we need to kind of get back to that because there's going to be some stresses on the bog, and we just want to make sure that this really special place is protected.
Thank you.
Hi, Robin Scourin, 2 Lee Road. My husband Skip and I have lived up on that hill for 33 years, and we've dealt with those beavers forever. And in 1996, it was passed there would be no trapping of animals with leg holes and whatnot. And we're from Otis, so no trapping of beavers. I'm sorry, no trapping of beavers or other animals with leg holes. We're both from Otis. We grew up in farms. We've dealt with wildlife all sorts of ways. And my husband managed it very nicely until that vote in 1996. And since then, it was working fine when there's some flow devices installed. And since the pandemic, those flow devices have not even been looked at that I can know of, or we've been advised of. And several of the people here in town on commissions have been up there to look at this. It is now 12 feet from my lawn, and it used to be 50 feet from my lawn, and animals used to go through there.
Right.
The deer, the bear, and now it's infringing on our well, our septic, and our lawn. And what is this? The flow devices cannot be resurrected? They worked.
First of all, not only have we looked at it, but the state was here last week, I believe, doing an evaluation too. NHESB is as concerned as you are, but for different reasons. Those are the endangered species folks.
Absolutely.
And I believe that they've offered to fund the new beaver deceivers for downstream, which is where the problem is backing up the water. You know, it's the state, and so sometimes they work at their own pace, but it's not a lot of money, and frankly, I think that we should really prioritize figuring this out, both for the neighbors as well as the health of the bog in the next few months. Even if it's, you know, $8 or $10 grand, we have to figure out how to fund
mitigate the water somehow.
Yeah. We haven't forgotten about it. Believe me, we're just waiting for the state to come around.
Well, the roads in jeopardy as well. The highway is in jeopardy as well.
Did I get that right? He said mostly, or somewhat. I'm not sure which is better. Okay, sorry about that, but we haven't forgotten, and we're trying to get it done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, we got one more.
John?
Yeah, I'd like to know who's going to conduct this hydrological study. Is it going to be Natural Heritage? Is it going to be, who's it going to be?
I think that we get recommendations of vendors with this specialty experience from the state, and that then we bid it out like any project over 10,000.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on Article 17? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please click 1. Opposed, click 2. 10 seconds.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Yes, 104. No, 6.
Article 17 has passed. 104 in favor, 6 opposed. Article 18.
I move that the town transfer and appropriate the sum of $37,500 from available certified free cash for the purpose of restoring and repairing the Glendale Fire Station.
Article 18 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Yes, 99. No, 10.
Article 19.
I move that the town transfer and appropriate a sum of $35,000 from available certified free cash to be added to the amounts appropriated under Article 24 of the annual town meeting of May 20th, 2013, Article 22 of the annual town meeting of May 19th, 2014, Article 36 of the annual town meeting of May 18th, 2015, Article 25 of the annual town meeting of May 16, 2016, Article 20 of the annual town meeting of May 15, 2017, Article 21 of the annual town meeting of May 21st, 2018, Article 14 of the annual town meeting of May 20th, 2019, and Article 26 of the annual town meeting of June 21st, 2021, for costs associated with negotiations for the Rest of River project, along with Pittsfield, Lenox, Lee, Great Barrington, and Sheffield, regarding the removal of PCBs in the Housatonic River.
Second.
Article 19 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Charlie?
I'm Charlie Kenny from Meadow Road. I see that this has been discussed at quite a number of meetings. One was 9 years ago, 8 years ago. I don't remember those exactly, but what I do remember happening in the last several times that this came up, that the discussion was seriously curtailed because there was a litigation process going on. And I, for one, never really got a good understanding of what was going on. So I would like to, first of all, ask a question about this. Is there going to be a financial hardship or penalty to the town if we were to delay this discussion until after a public forum when everybody could really hear this very important issue and understand what's going on? Because I don't understand it. So first of all, would there be a financial penalty or hardship if this were delayed, let's say, to a special town meeting?
Steve Schatz from the Finance Committee, former selectman, interim moderator last year.
Still recovering. But more importantly, Charlie, for your purposes, I've been a member of the Rest of the River Municipal Committee since Georgia Marsden left that committee, I think, in 2014 or 15, and have participated in all of the meetings, public meetings, many informational meetings, pardon me, throughout the Berkshires, including meetings in Lee and Lenox, and have stood at this microphone on each occasion that this appropriation has come up to attempt to explain what the nature of the work is to be. Yes, there are aspects of the settlement agreement with General Electric and EPA that which were conducted in a mediated settlement discussion, which various boards of selectmen, including this board of selectmen, approved. But let me just bring you up to date. The Environmental Appeals Board, a federal agency, has approved a plan for the remediation of PCBs from sections of the Houstonic River, primarily in this case in the lower reaches of the river in Pittsfield, in Lenox, and in Lee, and to some extent also in the Rising Pond area of Great Barrington. This will also include the removal of impounded sediments, PCB contaminated sediments, from behind four dams, one of which has already been breached, and three of which continue to operate. Your direct question about whether or not this effort will be at all stalled, hampered, or otherwise, if this vote were not to be taken.
That's not my question.
I thought that's what it was.
Yeah, no, so I'd like to just clarify what my question is before
Please,
you answer it.
Certainly.
So my question is actually, will we have a financial hardship if we table this discussion to a special town meeting after we've had a forum where we can actually understand better as a town, and actually I'm speaking from the Board of Health too, because it is a health issue, all of the things that were decided and gone over in this meeting. So that the question is, if we table this to a later date, would we suffer a financial hardship?
It's very different. Not a question I can answer, but I see no reason to table this any more so than we've tabled it over the last 9 years. We have supported the efforts of the 5 towns and Pittsfield, which entered into a separate agreement to achieve a substantial remediation of PCB contaminated sediments from the river, to clean up vernal pools, near and dear to the hearts of some, backwater areas, impounded sediments, and so forth. It has resulted in the elimination of 2 potential toxic waste landfills in the county and reduced it to 1. It has resulted in the cleanup, which will result in the cleanup, I should say, of bank area along the river. It will result in, as I said, the removal of contaminated sediments from behind dams, which run the risk of, if there was a dam breach in the case of 2 of the dams in Lee, of delivering contaminated PCB sediments down into the floodplain in Stockbridge, and in Sheffield, and in Great Barrington. So I, for myself, having been involved in this now for 9 years, attended probably 100 meetings. I see absolutely no reason why this should be tabled. I think there has been sufficient public discussion, and if you have not attended any of the public meetings previously, well, I'm sorry you were not there.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay.
So, as I understand it, the town will not have a financial hardship if we delay this to a special meeting for our town to understand this. These other meetings were not for that.
I did not say that.
And so, if there is, so I have the question out then. If you couldn't answer it, is there going to be a financial hardship for the town if we don't appropriate this money now?
Do you have an opinion on that one?
Excuse me. I've just been prompted.
Go for it.
Okay. The $35,000 is our share of the cost of participation in this rest of the river effort. The town has appropriated similar amounts, whether it's 35, it started at 10 a long time ago, and with cost creep we're at 35 now. Not participating financially in this effort has some risk, and I don't want to over dramatize it, but the risk is that it could be determined that we were in violation of what's called an intermunicipal agreement that the town openly entered into, approved by this meeting, with amendments to the intermunicipal agreement approved as recently as October of 2020, and in a special meeting before that. And if it were determined that we had violated the terms of the intermunicipal agreement, there was the risk. I'm not saying that it's a high risk, but there is some risk that we would lose our right to participation in the settlement with General Electric, which would generate about $1.5 million for this town. So, again, I'm not here to give, legal opinions. I leave that to Donna Brewer. There is some risk that could come to pass.
So I am not at all suggesting that we become in violation of the municipal agreement. Not at all. I would not want to put us there. I simply feel that the town deserves a greater discussion about this issue. It's much more than the $35,000. We're dealing with many other figures, and I'm just suggesting that if there is no specific hardship, we should table this. Instead of it being on a warrant where we have 60 items, we should table it to a time when we can have a relatively dedicated meeting, possibly discussing the intersections. So I make a motion that we table this discussion until we have a special town meeting to discuss it in detail and understand more about what's been happening. Thank you.
Article 19 has received a motion to lay on the table. I'm just going to check the book to make sure we get this right. Can't do that right now. Yeah. This is. We have to make sure that this motion is debatable.
There wasn't a second.
So it needs a second. It's not debatable. Requires
Not
2/3 vote
right.
to pass.
Right. Okay. Obviously, what I thought it was. It's not debatable. It's not amendable. We vote immediately, and it requires a 2/3 majority vote. So at this point, the motion on the table is to lay Article 19 on the table. And I would ask the people in favor of laying it on the table.
I can't comment first?
No, it's not debatable. Please sit down. All those in favor of laying this matter on the table, Article 19, please click 1. All those opposed to laying it on the table, please click 2.
10 seconds. Four, three, two, one. Polling is closed. Motion fails. Yes, 28. No, 81.
The motion to lay on the table has failed. A yes vote of 28, a no vote of 81. We'll proceed to further discuss Article 19. Is there any further discussion? Tom?
Tom Stokes, 51 Interlaken Road. Mr. Moderator, I have to say that I'm somewhat dismayed that we could not have discussed the very legitimate motion that was just made. Given that we were not able to discuss that, I'm here to argue that we vote no on this appropriation. I think that it is a very reasonable request, notwithstanding the 100 meetings that Mr. Schatz has attended. Many of us don't really understand what's going on, what's in for it, why we're part of this agreement. I think there are certainly very good reasons for it, but it is a very important issue, not just for Stockbridge, but especially to our neighbors to the east and our neighbors to the north, namely Lee and Lenox. Many of us have friends in Lee who are fighting this both through town government and in the courts. We don't know what I'm not saying that they're right or wrong or that we're right and wrong, but this is an important issue. It requires transparency, and notwithstanding the many meetings that have happened, there's a tremendous amount of confusion about this, and for us to blindly go ahead and say, yeah, we're all for this, we're not going to have a public meeting where we can thoroughly examine the issues involved, I think is a terrible mistake.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Patrick?
The question of paying the lawyers to maintain the $35,000 is separate from a public meeting. How many people in the room want a public meeting in the next several months to talk about, get an update on the rest of the river? As the select board member, I would certainly have no problem with scheduling that meeting. I haven't polled my colleagues, obviously, but that's not an unreasonable request. It doesn't have to be tied to the money for the lawyers, because guess what? You guys asked for it, and at least me, I'm going to support it. So that's what I just wanted to say.
Any further discussion? Tom?
There have been actually repeated requests to the Board of Selectmen that we have a public forum. Initially, Gary Pitney made this request several years ago. I again made this request just a few weeks ago. So I would really appreciate it if at the very least the selectmen would commit to a public meeting where we can really discuss the ins and the outs and the consequences of this cleanup.
Donna Brewer, Town Council. I just want to reiterate what you've heard before, which is that you have a binding contract by which you did agree to pay $35,000 toward the costs of the Rest of the River Committee. That obligation is enforceable. I don't want to see this town breach any legal contracts. I would advise you to support this article independent of what the Board of Selectmen may discuss at a meeting at which there is an agenda item to discuss having a public presentation summarizing where everything is on the Rest of the River Committee. If that's what they wish to do, it will be on a future agenda.
Thank you, Town Council. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 13, please click 19, I'm sorry. Article 19, this is very important. Click 1 in favor of Article 19, 2 opposed.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Motion passes. Yes, 89. No, 23.
Article 19 has passed by a vote of 89 in favor, 23 opposed. Article 20.
I move that the town transfer and appropriate a sum of $35,000 from available certified free cash for the purpose of purchasing for the Highway Department a Ford F-150 or equivalent.
Second.
Article 20 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Tom?
Yes, on what I hope will be a friendlier note, just an inquiry. Has there been any investigation as to whether this particular pickup, an F-150, could be an electric vehicle?
Is the Highway Department Superintendent here? Hugh? Oh, wait. Never mind, Hugh. Hugh, hold up. Michael might have the answer.
We do the analysis of all vehicles to see if they can be either hybrid or electric, which we started 2 years ago with the police department. We're now on our second hybrid vehicle, and we will examine if hybrid or electric is an option with the Ford F-150. Yes.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 20, please click 1. Opposed? Click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Article passes. Yes, 92. No, 16.
Article 20 has passed. 92 in favor, 16 opposed. Article 21.
I move that the town transfer and appropriate a sum of $25,000 from available certified free cash for the purpose of replacing the public beach restroom roof and all incidental and related costs.
Second.
Article 21 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 21, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Article passes. Yes, 104. No, 4.
Article 21 has passed. 104 in favor, 4 against. Article 22.
I move that the town transfer and appropriate a sum of $20,000 from available certified free cash for the purpose of purchasing for the Highway Department tools and handheld equipment.
Second.
Article 22 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Oh, yes, Steve Miller, 2 Elm Street. I'd like to know if we're going to be buying electric leaf blowers with this money, because I'm really tired of waking up at 6 o'clock on Friday morning when they're cleaning downtown.
Same answer to the last one?
Yes.
All options will be considered.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 22, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Article passes. Yes, 96. No, 8.
Article 22 is passed. 96 in favor, 8 opposed. Sorry. You have to go this way. What number's your article?
I think it's 23.
Sure it is. 23. Article 23.
I move the town transfer and appropriate a sum of $14,000 from available certified free cash for the purpose of painting and repairs to the Interlaken Fire Station.
Second.
Article 23 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, click 1. Opposed, click 2. Article 24.
Article 24, I move that the town transfer and appropriate a sum of $10,000 from available certified free cash for the purpose of installing an Ice Glen interpretive signs.
Second.
Article 24 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Hi, Mary.
Hi there. I just have a quick question. I wish I'd brought it up when we were talking about the beach replacement. In looking at these, are these appropriate to be paid for by the CPA funds for recreation and open space? We all pay that as part of our taxes, and I mean, it's not a big deal, but I just wondered if it was.
I believe the issue was the CPA can't be used for maintenance, and the beach, which you asked about, I believe was maintenance. And there's another issue with the sign, wasn't there, Donna, where the sign couldn't be funded. Your attorney told us the sign couldn't be funded by CPA either. We tried.
Okay, good, thank you.
Any further discussion on Article 24? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling has closed. Article passes. Yes, 90. No, 13.
Article 24 passed. 90 in favor, 13 opposed. Article 25.
I move that the town transfer and appropriate a sum of $7,000 from available certified free cash for the purpose of paying 1/3 the cost of a shared equipment trailer to be used by the Highway, Sewer, and Water Department.
Second.
Article 25 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Article passes. Yes, 98. No, 6.
Article 26. Article 25 has passed. 98 in favor, 6 opposed.
I move that the town transfer and appropriate the sum of $5,700 from available free cash for the purpose of improving the public beach and swimming area.
Article 26 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 26, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling closed. Article passes. Yes, 99. No, 3.
Article 26 has passed. 99 in favor, 3 opposed. Article 27.
I move that the town transfer and appropriate the sum of $99,200 from sewer available surplus for the purpose of funding the DEP I&I study survey.
Article 27 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All right, Mary wants to know what the I&I is.
So, Michael Buffoni, Water Superintendent. I don't think Tony's here. The I&I study is inflow and infiltration. It's a study where the DEP mandates every sewer system in the state has to do an I&I study, which is inflow is people hooking sump pumps to the town sewer, and inflow would be water table comes up and all the leaky pipes, broken, cracked pipes would let water in, groundwater in. And we've done the first 2 phases of this study, and now this is the 3rd phase. And I believe there's still another phase after this. We know we have it, we have a lot of it, and now we have to go out and find where it is. And then I believe the next phase will be repairs.
Thank you, Mike. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. Article 27, all those in favor, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling closed. Article passes. Yes, 99. No, 2.
Article 27 is passed, 99 in favor, 2 opposed. Article 28.
I move that the town transfer and appropriate a sum of $96,963 from sewer available surplus to pay for the portion of the cost of the debt service payment, principal and interest of the sewer system expansion and update project authorized by Article 3 of the special town meeting of April 1st, 2002.
Article 28 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Article passes. Yes, 96. No, 3.
Article 29. Article 28 has passed, 96 in favor, 3 against.
I move that the town transfer and appropriate a sum of $65,600 from sewer available surplus to pay for a portion of the cost of the debt service payment, principal and interest, of the Park Street Pump Station project authorized by Article 40 of the town meeting of June 12, 2021.
Second.
Article 29 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 29, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Article passes. Yes, 98. No, 2.
Article 30, I have to read that. Article 29 is passed, 98 to 2.
I move that the town transfer and appropriate a sum of $7,000 from available sewer available surplus for the purpose of paying 1/3 the cost of shared equipment trailer to be used by the highway, sewer, and water departments.
Second.
Article 30 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 30, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Article passes. Yes, 89. No, 6.
Article 30 is passed, 89 in favor, 6 opposed. Article 31.
I move that the town transfer and appropriate a sum of $6,500 from available surplus for the purpose of upgrading the sewer and water billing software.
Second.
Article 31 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Article passed. Yes. 92. No.
Article 31 is passed, 92 in favor, 5 against. Article 32.
It's the official halfway point, folks. All right. Article 32, I move that the town transfer and appropriate a sum of $25,000 from the Water Operations Reserve Fund for the purpose of funding the painting of the water treatment plant roof or take any other action in relation thereto. Expected request.
Second.
Article 32 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 32, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Article passes. Yes, 96. No, 3.
Article 32 has passed, 96 in favor, 3 against. Article 33.
I move that the town transfer and appropriate a sum of $22,000 from the Water Operations Reserve Fund for the purpose of funding the Lake Averick bathymetry and safety yield study.
Second.
Article 33 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Charlie?
Yeah, Charles Kenny, Meadow Road. I just was wondering if the bathymetry does not come within the parameters that we would want to have, what would we be expected to do? Is there some consequence of this not working out right?
This is the depth
Mike?
yield study.
Mike?
Well, I guess I'd have to say the 130 plus years the reservoir has been used, we've never had a shortage of water. With any utility, we need to know what our source is capable of, and that's what this is doing. If we have a situation where we don't have enough water to supply the town, which in my experience we've had more than enough, we would have to maybe raise the lake, the spillway to get more water held back in the reservoir. But just a point of interest, we use less water now than we did back in the 2010s. With, I believe, a lot of it has to do with water-saving faucets and fixtures. So this bathymetry, and I'm pretty sure Mrs. Sorry, I can't remember. She was going to ask what this meant. I'm pretty sure. The bathymetry is basically the topography of the lake and how much the lake will hold, and the safe yield, which will be done by these engineers, will let us know what we can safely remove from the lake on a daily basis.
So Mike, would you say that this was a predictive study so that you can predict what our utilizations?
Yes, and this is a DEP recommended study. The last time this was done was in 1931 from Joseph Franz, who is Shirley's, I believe, father. We have a lot of stuff. He worked for the water department, and I see his stuff on a daily basis. So this will be a lot more accurate way to see what our reservoir is capable of.
Thank you, Mike. Any further discussion? Article 33, seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 33, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Passes. Yes, 96. No.
Article 34.
By the way, there's free candy bars by the microphone. Just come up and speak. Let's see. I move that the town transfer and appropriate a sum of $20,000 from the Water Operations Reserve Fund for the purpose of funding the filtered water turbidimeter installation.
Second.
Article 34 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Do you want to explain that, Mike?
This is another DEP requirement. We have 2 water filters in the treatment plant, and each one of them has a turbidimeter on them, but they want us to add another turbidimeter to measure the combined filter effluent from the 2 filters. This $20,000 is to purchase the equipment, and we will do the installation ourselves in-house.
Any further discussion? Thank you, Mike. All those in favor of Article 34, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Article passes. Yes, 97. No. 1.
Article 34 has passed. 97 in favor, 1 against. Article 35.
I move that the town transfer and appropriate the sum of $20,000 from available water operation reserve funds for the purpose of funding the DEP master plan for the water system.
Article 35 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 35, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Article passes. Yes, 90. No, 3.
Article 35 has passed. 90 in favor, 3 against. Article 36.
I move that the town transfer and appropriate a sum of $10,000 from the Water Operation Reserve Fund for the purpose of funding the pump and turbine feasibility study.
Article 36 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Article passes. Yes, 90. No, 2.
Article 36 has passed. 90 in favor, 2 opposed. Article 37.
I move that the town transfer and appropriate the sum of $7,000 from the Water Operation Reserve Fund for the purpose of paying 1/3 of the cost of the shared equipment trailer to be used by the Highway and Sewer and Water Department.
Article 37 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. John?
John Loyadice, 12 Cherry Street. How is this different from the previous article that was passed for the same, or it seems Article 25, where also 1/3 of the cost is shared equipment in the trailer?
Three departments sharing the cost of the trailer.
I don't know if you can hear that, John, but there's 3 departments sharing the cost of the trailer, so that's just the other one. No?
There are 2 different amounts, and there's 2 different sources. So this one is $7,000 from Water Operations Reserve Fund. The other one was from free cash.
7,000.
Yeah,
But they're all sharing the cost.
But they're all sharing the cost, but there's just 2 different sources of funding.
I'd just like to ask a point of information. What's the quorum for tonight's meeting?
50.
50, thank you.
Article 37. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Article passes. Yes, 90. No, 4.
Article 37 has passed. 90 in favor, 4 opposed. Article 38.
I move that the town transfer and appropriate a sum of $6,500 from the Water Operations Reserve Fund for the purpose of upgrading the sewer and water billing software.
Second. Article 38 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 38, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Article passes. Yes, 90. No, 3.
Article 38 is passed. 90 in favor, 3 opposed. Article 39.
I move that the town transfer and appropriate a sum of I move that the town transfer and appropriate a sum of $20,000 from available overlay surplus for the purpose of contracting services to perform appraisals and revaluation.
Second.
Article 39 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Mary? Pardon? It's to pay for reappraisal and reevaluation. All real estate. Any other discussion? Seeing none. Nina?
So does that mean you are conducting appraisals of all the town real estate?
Yes.
Thank you.
We should have. I think it's appraisal for bad debt. People that don't pay their taxes and reappraise. Is that correct, Michael?
Any further questions? Discussion on Article 39? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 39, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Article passes. Yes, 73. No, 22.
That's an interesting vote. Article 39 did pass. 73 in favor, 22 against. And we're going to move on to Article 40.
I move that the town, as recommended by the Community Preservation Committee and pursuant to the Community Preservation Act, appropriate $58,000 from the Community Preservation Undesignated Fund Balance and $67,000 from the Community Housing Reserve Fund Balance for community housing purposes to be used by the town of Stockbridge for the funding of the Stockbridge Housing Trust.
Second.
Article 40 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Mary?
Instead of yelling from the back, what does the trust do that this money's put into?
Patrick?
Well, in fact, we did sign the trust documents. Yes, we finished the trust documents. Yeah. So the next step for the housing trust is actually name the directors. The housing trust will be a part of town government that is independent with its own directors. I believe we named 5 of them, and so if anyone is looking to participate in framing what kind of affordable housing we want to do, this is a new thing, and those 5 folks will be charged with that. The sorts of things we could do are, for example, investing in pine woods, investing in Heaton Court, working with Habitat for Humanity, or doing any other things that support affordable housing, which is a specifically defined legal term in Massachusetts. So last year we put in $100,000. This year we're putting $100,000. We're hoping to take that money and leverage it into much more projects by accessing other sources of funds. So if anyone feels like getting involved, there's a great opportunity that's just being formed.
Nick Nadorf, 12 Pine Street. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, but this is the appropriate place to ask the same question I've asked a number of times. We raised and appropriated money to put a walkway from our affordable housing into town, and somehow that's never gotten done. I feel we made a commitment to those people, and it seems to fall on deaf ears every time I ask the question. So, is anyone listening?
So first of all, we raised and appropriated money to study a walkway.
No. False. You look at it.
I did look at it.
I had Georgia look at it. She said we raised and appropriated money to put it in. It wasn't a study.
Look, I'm not opposed to the walk, but
well, show me the article. I'll have to look it up if you can't, but it wasn't a study.
I mean, we've had discussions around sidewalk and/or walk. I think it's there's been a lot of projects on the Capitol. I'm not making excuses, but on the there's been a lot of capital things to fix and do, and to be honest, I don't believe we just haven't gotten to it yet.
So let me make sort of a Mary Flynn emotional appeal. Okay. All right, I'm a truck driver. I drive by that a lot. I watch the speed limit, but if you'd notice, people aren't observing speed limits at all. I've also watched young children walk along the road because there's no way to maintain a sidewalk which isn't there. Right. I'm afraid someone's going to get killed there, and then we'll probably have a memorial to that person under their name. So please look into this a little bit more. I think we failed what we committed to do. Thank you.
Jim, we've talked about it too. Yeah.
Jim Balfance, Interlaken Road. Patrick, as you know, you and I have had numerous conversations and communications regarding this, and Nick Nadorf is exactly correct. And it's time, and you'd made the commitment that we'd get going on this. Okay. It's time we get going on it. Okay. We owe it to that.
In fairness, Jim, I will just point out that between last year and this year, I reached out to Construct, and I got $150,000 from community preservation put toward making repairs there. I'm not sure that building a sidewalk is community preservation money, which is the one that we're on right now. But however, regardless of where the money comes from, I do think it is a reasonable request, and I would certainly support it.
Sally?
This is not something that we've forgotten. It's not something that we're opposed to in any way. I'm Sally Underwood Miller. I'm chair of the Community Preservation Committee. There are complicated issues around trying to construct this, not the least of which is that there is a bird sanctuary between the Pine Woods and Church Street. There are also wetlands between Pine Woods and Church Street. And that has caused it to be significantly more difficult to permit and significantly more difficult and expensive to accomplish. It's not that we don't want to do it, it's just that it's not as simple as we originally thought.
Jim?
Jim Balfance, Interlaken Road. Patrick, as you well know, I helped push for the $70,000 for the driveway. In response to Sally Underwood Miller's comments, this town has managed to develop Pine Woods when there was a wetlands issue there. I really think it's important that we protect young children and the handicapped person that's driving that motorized wheelchair up and down that road. The last thing we need is to have somebody get killed. And it was approved, as Nick has pointed out. There's no reason we can't build a sidewalk through that area of the wetlands and just abutting that area of the bird sanctuary. Thank you.
I'm not opposed to it, Jim. Let's get on it this year.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote on Article 40. All those in favor, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Article passes. Yes. 89. No. 9.
Article 40 has passed. 89 in favor, 9 against. Article 41.
I move that the town, as recommended by the Community Preservation Committee and pursuant to the Community Preservation Act, to appropriate from the Historic Preservation Reserve Fund a sum of $100,000 to be used by the First Congregational Church for historic resources purposes to preserve and restore the entranceway and exterior.
Second.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Charter.
Article 41 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 41, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Article passes. Yes, 75. No, 22.
Article 41 is passed by a vote of 75 in favor, 22 opposed. Article 42.
I move that the town, as recommended by the Community Preservation Committee and pursuant to the Community Preservation Act, to appropriate from the Open Space Reserve Fund balance a sum of $85,000 for open space resources proposed to be used by the town of Stockbridge for the Ice Glen invasive insect treatment.
Article 42 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Yes.
I am Brent Wiggins, 20 Prospect Hill Road. I wondered by what means this invasive insect treatment will be carried out, and if there are any chemicals involved. What do we know about them and their collateral effects?
We're using the one chemical that the Forest Safety Health Director of the state of Massachusetts recommended that could kill both the woolly adelgid and this black-scaled beetle, these combination of invasive insects. We did elect to only use the application method of what's called stem injection, where we actually drill holes and inject the pesticide into the tree so that it spends its entire life cycle while it's a pesticide before it breaks down, only attacking the things that eat the leaves. And I've heard there's some mammal that eats, baby hemlock leaves, but these hemlocks have a canopy that's 100, 150 feet up off the ground, and we don't have any porcupines or whatever eating their leaves. So what does eat are two invasive insects, and we're going to kill them, and hopefully we're going to save that stand that only had 2 or 3 years left to
Thank you.
To live.
Thank you for that explanation, Patrick. Is there any further discussion on Article 42? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
Seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Article passes. Yes, 85. No, 9.
Article 42 has passed. 85 in favor, 9 opposed. Article 43.
I move that the town. 43 is mine? Oh, this is when we switch.
I move that the town, as recommended by the Community Preservation Committee and pursuant to the Community Preservation Act, to appropriate from the Community Preservation undesignated fund balance a sum of $70,000 for community housing purposes to be used by Pinewoods for reconstruction of the driveway.
Second.
Article 43 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Yes. The masked man, John Hart.
Am I mistaken that we've already dealt with this, like in previous town meetings, or what? It seems to me we voted on this. No?
Jay will handle this.
John, you're correct. We could not do the work last year because of the rain, the amount of rain. So therefore, it has been pushed forward and reapproved. Okay.
We funded the total $140,000 project over 2 years.
Right.
So they're going to do both halves of the project this year,
Okay, thank you.
if the weather holds up.
Thank you, gentlemen. Is there any further discussion on Article 43? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please click 1. Opposed, click 2. Article 43 is passed. 94 in favor, 2 against. Article 44.
I move that the town, as recommended by the Community Preservation Committee and pursuant to the Community Preservation Act, appropriate from the Historic Preservation Reserve Fund balance of a sum of $40,000 for historic research purposes to be used by the town of Stockbridge for the restoration of the concrete basin at the Cat and Dog Fountain.
Article 44 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 44, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling has closed. Article passed. Yes, 88. No, 8.
Article 44 has passed, 88 to 8. Article 45.
I move that the town, as recommended by the Community Preservation Committee and pursuant to the Community Preservation Act, appropriate the sum of $17,500 from the Community Preservation Undesignated Fund Balance and the sum of $20,000 from the Historic Preservation Reserve Fund balance funds for the historic research purposes and to use for the town of Stockbridge for the renovation of the Glendale Fire Station.
Article 45 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 45, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Article passes. Yes, 89. No, 5.
Article 45 has passed. 89 in favor, 5 opposed. Article 46.
I move that the town, as recommended by the Community Preservation Committee and pursuant to the Community Preservation Act, appropriate from the Community Preservation undesignated fund balance a sum of $33,529 for community housing purposes to be used by the Stockbridge Housing Authority, Heaton Court, for replacement of wood siding and building A, C, D, E, and F.
Article 46 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling has closed. Article passes. Yes, 93. No, 1.
I think afterwards, maybe we could test all the clickers, see if there's one that's not functioning. Article 47. Well, did I say that Article 46 passed 93 to 1? Article 47.
I move that the town, as recommended by the Community Preservation Committee and pursuant to the Community Preservation Act, appropriate from the Community Preservation undesignated fund balance for recreational purposes a sum of $23,176 to be used by the Laurel Hill Association for the revitalization of the Upper Bowkers Woods.
Second.
Article 47 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 47, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling has closed. Article has passed. Yes, 94. No, 3.
Article 47 has passed. 94 in favor, 3 against. Article 48.
I move that the town, as recommended by the Community Preservation Committee and pursuant to the Community Preservation Act, appropriate from the Community Preservation undesignated fund balance a sum of $20,000 for recreational purposes to be used by the town of Stockbridge for the installation of a kayak/canoe launch at the town beach.
Second.
Article 48 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Charlie?
I was just wondering, I know some people like to use shells on the lake. Would that be something that could be launched from this launch?
No, the boat's stored there. We lease out for the season.
Yes.
Carol Seltzer, Interlaken Road. I'm wondering what kind of zebra mussel monitoring is going to take place. We do have it at the boat launch, but what is going to be done to check for zebra mussels on this launch?
The question is, will there be zebra mussel monitoring at this launch?
Nick Fretzel, Parks and Recreation. So the plan is to actually use the launch that was in the river, part of that platform. At the town beach, it will only be for people who store their kayaks or canoes there or whatever they launch from there. And we are planning on adding additional racks for more people to put kayaks and canoes and whatever. I'm not sure what the last question was, whatever type of floating thing that was, but it will basically be the ramp part of the platform and the rollers that go down into the water. And also to remove some invasives that are down there and replant some other stuff that's not invasives. So, yeah.
Nick?
Yes.
The other Nick.
Other Nick, sorry. So will I be able to use my stand-up paddleboard in the same way they use kayaks and canoes at the same launch?
You need to store it there, that's all.
Okay, and will there be a fee for storing?
Yes, it's about $50 a year, somewhere around that.
It's a good idea.
Sally?
It's my understanding that under the contract that you will sign when you bring your boat to the town beach, that you will sign that your boat is zebra mussel free and you will not remove it during the course of the summer, so there will be no possibility of recontamination.
Sounds like a good plan. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote on Article 48. All those in favor, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling has closed. Article passes. Yes. 90. No. 4.
Article 48 has passed, 90 in favor, 4 against. Article 49.
I move that the town is recommended by the Community Preservation Committee and pursuant to the Community Preservation Act appropriate from the Community Preservation undesignated fund balance a sum of $15,000 for recreational purposes to be used by the town of Stockbridge for the installation of a kayak launch on the Housatonic River.
Article 49 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Mary?
Mary Hart, Rattlesnake. I do recall a few years back we had installed something down at the Park Street Park that proceeded to wash away. So I would like to know how this is going to be constructed and installed there, because it would, if it's going to be usable, great, but if it's going to wash away, it's not great.
Nick, do you have the answer?
Yes, I do. So this is going to be constructed from large flat stones, similar to what they have at the Covered Bridge launch down in Sheffield, and also at the Wacona Park launch in Pittsfield. There's a series of large flat stones that are placed down the bank, and as the water level goes up and down, you go down a certain amount on the stones, and that's it. So they should not wash away. They haven't in the other places, so.
Sally?
And the one that's being installed at this town beach is the one that washed away, and so it's being reused, and we haven't lost it.
Denny Alsop, Main Street. I think it's important to note that there are zebra mussels in the Housatonic River in Stockbridge, so the protection of the bowl is particularly appropriate, and it might be good to post that. I don't know.
I think the state has on the board that's there, they have information about that.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, proceed to vote on Article 49. All those in favor, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling has closed.
Article 49 is passed, 88 in favor, 8 opposed. Article 50.
All right, number 50. I move that the town, as recommended by the Community Preservation Committee and pursuant to the Community Preservation Act, to appropriate from the Community Preservation Undesignated Fund Balance a sum of $15,000 for historic resources purposes to be used by the Berkshire Scenic Railway for the restoration of the apron, ramp, and electrical systems.
Second.
Article 50 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? John?
Having had a restaurant there for a number of years, I'm kind of curious as to, what the apron is and what electrical systems you're talking about.
I think it's that area by the tracks outside. Is that right, Charlie? It's like where we kind of.
Where people stand before they get on the trains that don't come anymore?
No.
Pardon? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 50, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling has closed. Article passes. Yes, 76. No, 13.
Article 50 has passed. 76 in favor, 13 opposed. Article 51.
I move that the town, as recommended by the Community Preservation Committee and pursuant to the Community Preservation Act, to appropriate from the Open Space Reserve Fund balance for open space and recreational purposes a sum of $12,750 to be used by the Friends of Gould Meadows for work at Gould Meadows to preserve open space by removing invasive species, improve recreational walkways, tree work, and stone wall work. And just personally, I use it almost every day. Thank you guys. You're doing a great job there.
Second.
Article 51 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yes. I just want to say that thank you to all of the people who have donated their time, their equipment, their energy, their planning to do the restoration of Gould Meadows. And if you haven't had a chance to go up there and walk around, it really is quite remarkable how it's changed over the years.
Thank you, Sally. Thank you, all volunteers. Patty?
Patty Andrew, Cherry Street in Stockbridge. Just a quick question. Expected request I see on each one of these motions. Is there, obviously that's expected. This is what we think it's going to cost. So what if, is there a cap if it's much more? How does that work? I'm just not understanding that.
Because of your thousand no.
We placed the dollar amount into the warrant so everybody could see what we expected to be asked at town meeting, but then the actual motion is what is actually requested. None of them did change, but at the time we were putting the warrant together, it gives room for options if you were to change things at this point.
Any further discussion on Article 51? Sally?
I just want to clarify that for Patty. When they come to us and for a request, they ask for a certain amount of money. If we're lucky that particular year, we have the amount of money that they've asked for and we give it to them. Or we discuss different options if we don't, or if we're not clear on whether the request fits into what's allowable under the Community Preservation Act. So let's say that you asked for $15,000, and it turned out in some cases it's really an estimate. So it's really kind of up to $15,000. So we never can go over that. but we can go under that, and that money is ultimately returned to the fund if it's not spent.
Patty, you have to use the mic if you're going to respond.
I didn't mean to single out the Community Preservation Act. I'm talking about in general, just
under
yeah.
Community preservation. That's how it looks.
Thank you for that. But I'm talking about like $35,000 for a truck for our highway department. I know that trucks now are going for $70,000, so that's why I asked that. I just didn't understand.
Yeah. So the other way to look at this is simply, you used to get a separate sheet. We would have all the warrant articles, and you'd have a separate sheet. You'd have to try to match the separate sheet to what was the request. So instead, to make it a little easier so people could see what we expected to be asking at this meeting, we put it right in the language of the warrant, so you had to see it. So I don't know if people remember older warrants I saw where you used to have to try to cross-reference different sheets. This was just to make it simpler to see what the expected request would be.
Any further discussion on Article 51? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling has closed. Article passes. Yes, 1. No, 2.
Article 51 is passed. 91 in favor, 2 against. Article 52.
And Michael, that change must have been really awesome because we're about half the time, less than half the time as last year. Look what we saved with this change you made. Thank you. Article 52, I move that the town, as recommended by the Community Preservation Committee and pursuant to the Community Preservation Act, to appropriate from the administrative fund balance a sum of $4,999 for the Norman Rockwell Museum for the creation of a historic structure report.
Second.
Article 52 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 52, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling has closed. Article passes. Yes, 70.
Article 52 has passed. 70 in favor, 19 against. Article 53.
I move that the town, as recommended by the Community Preservation Committee and pursuant to the Community Preservation Act, appropriate from the Historic Preservation Reserve Fund balance a sum of $2,900 for the use by the Friends of Gold Medals for historic research purposes to preserve the milk shed.
Article 53 has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling has closed. Article passes. Yes, 88. No, 5.
Article 53 has passed. 88 in favor, 5 against. Article 54.
I move that the town, as recommended by the Community Preservation Committee and pursuant to the Community Preservation Act, appropriate from the Historic Preservation Reserve Fund balance a sum of $2,713 for historic research purposes to use at Stockbridge Library for the replacement of a shadow box.
Article 54 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling has closed. Article passes. Yes, 88. No, 6.
Article 54 has passed. 88 in favor, 6 opposed. Article 55.
So this is my last article, so I just wanted to say thank you to the Finance Committee and to the Select Board. It's very hard work getting this budget together, and I appreciate all the voters coming out and supporting the hard work that these boards have done. I move that the town, as recommended by the Community Preservation Committee and pursuant to the Community Preservation Act, appropriate from the Community Preservation undesignated fund balance the sum of $10,000 for the FY23 CPC administration budget.
Article 55 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling has closed. Article passes. Yes, 83. No, 6.
Article 55 has passed. 83 in favor, 6 opposed. Article 56.
I move that the town, as recommended by the Community Preservation Committee and pursuant to the Community Preservation Act, appropriate $32,850 from fiscal year 23 community preservation estimated annual revenues to each of the following reserves: the Historic Resources Reserve, the Affordable Community Housing Reserve, and the Open Space Reserve from community preservation as required by Mass General Law, Chapter 44B, Section 6.
Second.
Article 56 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling has closed. Motion passes. Yes, 88. No, 4.
Article 56 has passed. 88 in favor, 4 against. Article 57.
I move that the town amend the general bylaws, Article 25, Agricultural and Forestry Commission, by removing Section 2. The Agricultural and Forestry Commission shall consist of 3 members appointed by the Board of Selectmen who are substantially engaged in the pursuit of agriculture or forestry within the town, or who have experience and a demonstrated interest in agriculture or forestry matters. The Selectmen may also appoint 1 or 2 alternate members of the Commission. Replacing with Section 2, the Agricultural and Forestry Commission shall consist of 5 members appointed by the Board of Selectmen who are substantially engaged in the pursuit of agriculture or forestry within the town, or who have experience and a demonstrated interest in agriculture or forestry matters, or take any other action relative thereto. So fundamentally, it's just replacing Section 2, the definition of the Agricultural and Forestry Commission, and instead of having 3 members and a couple of alternates, we're changing it to 5.
Second.
Article 57 has been moved, explained, and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 57, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling Polling has closed. Article passes. Yes, 85, no, 6.
Article 57 has passed, 85 in favor, 6 opposed. Article 58.
This is a relation to Betsy McKiernan's place on Interlake and Crossroad. Hi, Betsy. Article 58, I move that the town grant an easement for the installation of a private sewer main built to the approved standards of the Water and Sewer Department under Mackinac Road from 21 Interlake and Crossroad to Beechwood Mackinac intersection, and after 1 year to acquire by gift the easements for the acquisition of the private sewer main under portions of Mackinac Road from 21 Interlake and Crossroad to Beechwood Mackinac intersection upon such other terms and conditions as deemed appropriate by the Board of Selectmen, or take any other action in relation thereto.
Second.
Article 58 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Yes.
Good evening. I'm speaking on behalf of Betsy McKiernan. We just wanted to say that this, even though it says that it's a private, it's actually going to benefit, it could benefit everybody that's on the northern end of Prospect where it connects to Mackinac, the end of Interlake and Cross that connects to Mackinac, and all the people on Mackinac all the way down to Beechwood. So in essence, we're doing it out of necessity because we have really no other choice. And if we had another choice, we would probably look at that, but we've looked at every possible choice. And this is going to be very expensive. We've been quoted somewhere in the neighborhood of $160,000 to $200,000 to do it, but it is the only way that Betsy's able to sell her home and move forward with her life. So I just wanted to be clear about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Yes, Beth?
Yeah. Beth Laster Nathan, Lake Drive. When I saw this, I was just curious because Lake Drive has been trying to get a sewer put in. So I was just curious how this was all coming about, and I guess it's private. So, and I know Claire just kind of explained it. So that's all. I'll find out more about it from Claire.
I don't have a comment.
Thank you, Beth. Patrick has a comment.
You know, in this case, Betsy, you owned that house for what, 45 years? Yeah. So she has a septic, and it failed, and when she went to go sell it, and yeah, and so they brought the engineers in. There's no other place that will perk, and all of a sudden there is no solution to sell that house. She literally has a house that cannot be sold.
I got
so,
that.
Yeah, so I think that's in this case when the homeowner, it's a private system, obviously, that bringing the sewer into that area, and thankfully it's close enough to even do it because it's certainly an area of concern to start to think about where a single area is in the septic if that fails. We permit a lot of properties in this town where when it's permitted, there is no other area on the property that will perk. And this is, I think, a red flag that we're going to really have to deal with in the next few years.
Thank you, Patrick.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 58, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling has closed. Article passes. Yes. 88. No.
Article 58 has passed. 88 in favor, 5 against. Article 59.
Article 59 is to see if the town will accept the provisions of General Law, Chapter 60, Section 3C, to establish a new Stockbridge Scholarship and Education Fund, the purposes of which are to provide post-secondary educational financial aid to deserving Stockbridge residents and further to designate a place on town tax bills, the excise tax bill, or mail a separate form whereby the taxpayer can voluntarily check off, donate, or pledge an amount not less than $1 or other such amount, designated amount to such fund, or take any action related thereto.
Second.
Article 59 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 59, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling has closed. Article passes. Yes, 83. No, 13.
Article 59 has passed. 83 in favor, 13 against. Article 60. This is a petition article. Who's representing? Yes.
Anita Schwerner, Lake Drive. And the petition article is to see if the town will vote to require that all public bodies in Stockbridge provide live, adequate, alternative means of public access to the deliberations of the public body, including, without limitation, through telephone, internet, or satellite-enabled audio or video conferencing, or any other technology that enables the public to clearly follow the proceedings in real time instead of or in addition to holding meetings in a public place that is open and physically accessible to the public, or take any other action.
Article 60 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Shelby Marshall, Cherry Hill Road. I applaud the intention of the petition article. I think that it has been worded in such a way that misses several important things that need to be dealt with. So I have an amendment to propose that addresses just one issue that I have a concern about. As it's written, this resolution will prevent commissions and committees from conducting meetings on site, which several of them need to do from time to time. The Massachusetts Open Meeting Law defines a meeting as a deliberation by a public body with respect to any matter within the body's jurisdiction, provided, however, meeting shall not include an on-site inspection of a project or program, so long as the members do not deliberate. So deliberation is defined as an oral or written communication through any medium, including electronic mail, between or among a quorum of a public body on any public business within its jurisdiction. So what it comes down to is that if a site visit has a quorum and any member expresses an opinion, it's a deliberation, and therefore the on-site visit is a meeting. And therefore, that meeting, according to this this petition article, must be made hybrid. But it's an on-site visit, so it can't be made hybrid. So,
Joe, can I just say something before you say the amendment in regards to what you just said?
sure, but I have one more little bit of intro. So I feel it's not practical or reasonable to require committees and commissions to not deliberate during a site visit. Some committees and commissions, in particular the Conservation Commission, the Zoning Board of Appeals, the Agricultural and Forestry Commission, which I sit on, and the Cemetery Commission, will sometimes have to hold meetings, in other words, deliberate, during site visits. So we need to be able to discuss options, consider different points of view, make plans while we're actually in the location about which we are deliberating. So that's why I have proposed to insert one phrase into this. I'll yield to Nick.
Nick Fretzel, Parks and Recreation.
Okay, well, hold it, Nick.
Yep.
All right. Did you make that in the form of an amendment to that motion?
I have an amendment.
And I need it, and it needs a second?
He was going to let me speak before he turned it in.
You haven't moved it into the floor? If you've moved it onto the floor, it has to be seconded before we can do anything else with this meeting.
Did you read the amendment?
You can withdraw your amendment at this point.
He hasn't read the amendment yet.
I'm not going to withdraw it.
Okay, go ahead.
You can withdraw and resubmit it if you'd like.
I'll just read it in. So I want to insert the phrase, with the exception of site visits during which deliberations occur, which shall be open to in-person attendance, and put that phrase in so that the sentence reads, to see if the town will vote to require that all public bodies in Stockbridge provide live, adequate, alternative means of public access to the deliberations of the public body, with the exception of site visits during which deliberations occur, which shall be open to in-person attendance, including, et cetera, et cetera. So that phrase inserted is my amendment.
Okay. Thank you. And is there a second to this amendment?
Second.
The amendment has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the amendment?
So, Nick Fretzel, Parks and Recreation. So, we try and have most of our meetings on sites. We post our meetings at the location that they're going to be at, whether it's at the beach to talk about beach-related stuff, the beach itself, the parking area, the lifeguards, the building condition, stuff like that. We will meet at Park Street to talk about the skate park, the playground equipment there, mowing, things like that. Averick Park, where I don't even know if there is any kind of cell phone service or anything there.
Nick, we got the picture, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
The open meeting law defines a site visit without deliberations as not being a meeting. Therefore, we did not include it in our petition article. It has to do with meetings. I was not aware that there are meetings, site visit meetings, that have deliberations, and I could not find anything to that effect. I checked with some people from Concom and Planning Board, and I know I've heard this discussion at their meetings, that it's frustrating, but they're not allowed to deliberate. So I didn't feel that, and I don't feel that that's an appropriate amendment to our petition article. Thank you.
Well, it's a legal one, and if you don't accept it,
what?
Then we have to still vote on the amendment to your article, basically whether you like it or not. But then if you don't want to go ahead with it as amended, you have to withdraw your motion to petition your article. All right, Sally, you're going to speak to the amendment, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm speaking for with my Conservation Commission hat on now. If we have a meeting on site and we will advertise it or we will post it in Town Hall that we will be there, we are not required, or we're not actually permitted to invite the public to come to our site visits without the permission of the landowner. So we could theoretically not have the public be there. But with the option that we might be a quorum when we go to a site visit, we are required to post it.
Michael?
I'm not sure this is...
Michael, I don't think everyone knows who you are.
I apologize. I got caught up. Michael Nathan, Lake Drive. Could you summarize? We're sitting in the back, and I know this is a very important topic, but I think many of us, at least I'm talking to myself, so I shouldn't say many of us, don't quite understand or heard what was said. So I'm asking Gary if you could summarize for the public the positions or what it is that's being said, because I don't think we got the gist of what was said here in order to make a conscientious vote.
I always thought you liked me, Michael. Now I'm reassessing that idea. As far as I can see, what they're asking is that every meeting have access to Zoom or a telephone or some other method of letting everyone who can't get there physically be there, no matter where the meeting is and whether it's a site visit or anything else. And the petitioner has not indicated a willingness to make exceptions for the Conservation Commission and other issues. So we're a little bit at loggerheads here. We now are discussing and voting on an amendment that would change it to what would, in my view, be a little bit more reasonable and allow meetings that are very important and that require being on site somewhere out in the woods or on a river or wherever to be legally held, which would not be so under this motion as presented. Now, if we, as a body, move ahead with the amendment, what then, and it does pass, then what happens is we have to vote on the amendment, or on the motion, on the article, as amended. And if the presenter does not accept that, she can withdraw her motion, and the amendment will die, and as will the motion. So it's not, there's no real easy solution if you won't accept the amendment to get your motion passed in any shape.
I'm not sure that I clearly understood the amendment. What we were saying was that site visits, as far as I could find, did not include deliberation. Therefore, they did not have to have a remote component, which is what we're asking for, that all public meetings have this Zoom option or hybrid option. Okay, so if in fact there is such a thing as a properly posted site visit with deliberations, then in order to, and I think this is what we discussed with Shelby, it's my understanding that you can use a carve-out that was, that if they cannot have the Zoom option or the remote option, that they will then post a transcript or the minutes of that meeting immediately after. That those meetings would be an exception to what we were asking for, but I can accept that.
Shelby, you're nodding your head. You agree with it?
It sounds like Anita can accept the amendment. And basically, the point of this whole thing is that the open meeting law says that a site visit is not a meeting as long as it doesn't include deliberation. If it does include deliberation, it's a meeting. And therefore, it falls under the restrictions, the requirements of the open meeting law and therefore of this petition article. So what I'm proposing with my amendment is basically saying if a site visit is being held as a meeting, deliberations, then it is exempted from the requirement of hybrid because it cannot be done hybrid. And if it has to be done hybrid, then it can't be done. Therefore, site visits will be seriously hampered. So that's what the amendment is doing, is just addressing that issue.
Thank you, Shelby. Charlie, since you're chairman of the Board of Health, if you go out on the lake to check some kind of bloom out there and you have your people with you and you go on a boat, is there any way you can do that without deliberating about what you're seeing?
Well, I'd like to add, first of all, I wouldn't do that because we wouldn't want to have a quorum out there and run the risk of deliberating. So we wouldn't do that.
Well, if you had posted it.
But I think your point is very well taken, and it speaks to what I was going to ask town council right now to clarify for us, because I think there's a little bit of confusion here. The first idea is that I'd like to have clarified is is there a specific definition for site visit as opposed to a meeting that occurs at a site, someplace that would be unusual as opposed to the town hall? Is it the case that a site visit requires that there be no deliberation? And if so, should that even be brought to bear in the discussion as part of that amendment? In other words, first I'd like town council to tell me, is a site visit defined as a gathering of public officials that is required not to have deliberation if there's a quorum of the committee?
Donna Brewer, Town Council, and yes, Charlie, you've properly structured what the question is, and there was a lot that is built into your question. I'm talking about the Open Meeting Law, Chapter 30A, Section 18, which is definitions. So a meeting is a deliberation by a public body with respect to any matter within the body's jurisdiction. Provided, however, meeting shall not include an on-site inspection of a project or program, so long as the members do not deliberate. There are a lot of terms in there that are in fact also defined terms. So deliberation is any discussion, a communication of any type, including email, between or among a quorum of a public body on any business within their jurisdiction. And a public body is defined as a multi-member board, commission, committee, or subcommittee, etc. And so what you have is, if you have a group like the Conservation Commission that needs to go on site to inspect for the purposes of determining, for example, the application for a notice of intent, then they have two choices. They can go, or actually three choices. Less than a quorum can go. It doesn't need to be posted. If a quorum goes but does not ask any questions, does not have any communication between or among their members at the site visit, it doesn't need to be posted. If a quorum goes to the site and wants to ask questions of the landowner and discuss the matter among themselves, then they have to post it, and the public has to be permitted to attend. Now, if you have the requirement that it be a hybrid, that means on this private property, you're going to have somebody with a video camera or an audio camera that is going to be giving the public virtual access to that site in real time as set forth in the motion. There is at the moment in the main motion or in the amended motion, there is no provision in there that if the public is not attending by video or audio in real time, that therefore then the meeting minutes will suffice. That is not in the amended motion or the main motion.
Thank you. Gary, can I ask you to read the amendment as it was read into the record?
To see if the town, this is the amendment, to see if the town will require that all public bodies in Stockbridge provide live, adequate, alternative means of public access to the deliberations of the public body, with the exception of site visits during which deliberations occur, which shall be open to in-person attendance, including without limitation. And the rest of it is the same writing it was in the main motion. So the big change in the amendment is, with the exception of site visits during which deliberations occur, which shall be open to in-person attendance. Now, I believe from what Donna read out to us, that's almost impossible to do under this amendment.
It seems to be self-contradictory. In other words, the site visit idea precludes Ms. Brewer, am I right that it's a self-contradictory amendment because the site visit precludes deliberation? The definition of the site visit already means that there cannot be a deliberation. And is that the definition of the site visit you just gave me a little while ago?
The site inspection or attendance for the purposes of a program or an application does not constitute a meeting if there is no deliberation. But this will work, this amendment will work because it's saying if a quorum is attending and they will be deliberating, you have to post it, and the public has to be permitted to attend, but only in person, according to this amendment.
That's in the amendment. I'm sorry, I missed that part of it.
So it says, which shall be open to in-person attendance is part of the amendment. So this amendment is preserving the requirement under the open meeting law that the public be permitted to attend any open session of a public body.
So it's just redundant, actually. It states the site visit will be, that won't, where it doesn't occur where there is not a deliberation, that really doesn't obtain because that's not part of the first motion. It doesn't have anything to do with non-meeting ideas. So, am I right?
You are correct. Okay. What this is doing, though, is it's saying that that on-site inspections do not require an in real-time audio or video communication option. They are only open to the public if they appear in person. And the main motion requires the in real-time contemporaneous streaming, audio or video or both, of all public body meetings.
Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Patrick.
All right. I just want to kind of get back to the common sense part. It's a town of full-time residents. About half of us are over 65. And some of us are well beyond 65. The idea was give people a chance to watch it on TV either during the meeting or after the meeting, like we did in COVID. That was one good thing that came out of COVID, was it was more access to the information of the town. Now, Stockbridge is unique. Lee is only 8% second homeowners. This town is somewhere between 50 and 60% second homeowners, all right? So that means that all those people who come here for June, July, and August, or maybe 6 months a year if you're lucky, those people can't participate in that Parks and Rec meeting if they decide to have it at the beach. And frankly, as an aside, I would encourage them, if you can have your meetings in the Zoom room, if you got to do some kind of site inspection, great. But when you have your meetings out there in the wild, you're taking almost 2/3 of the taxpayers and saying, we're not going to give you access to our meetings in real time. So that's what this is about. It's based about common sense, saying that we as a body care about folks being able to access the meetings and ask their questions, or at least watch them after the fact. And I tell you, I've gotten at least 10 calls over my 2 years in office from second homeowners who care about Parks and Rec and who want to know why they can't Zoom into it if it's not, on the thing. So I would encourage the chairman. Now, how the rule is right now is if you're the chairman, you get to decide. The chairman of every single committee in town, legally the state of Massachusetts has to decide. Now, furthermore, the state of Massachusetts may not even renew hybrid meetings, once the emergency order comes out. So this is like a really fluid situation. I don't want to speak for Anita, but I think her purpose here was to say, guys, we want to keep encouraging participation by folks in town affairs. I talked to several selectmen over the past few weeks. Attendance at town committee meetings is way down. All right, we get typically 5-6 people to show up at a select board meeting. I remember when before I was elected, that room was full. I hope that's not my fault, but you never know. I really think that folks, got to be remotivated to start participating in their government, and I hope that this with the amendment maybe starts that in the path, but it may sort of not be fully baked yet. I fully admit. Thanks.
Sally?
I just want to say I'm totally in favor of the having Zoom meetings and having people be able to access, for whatever reason they'd like to, from their homes. However, Donna, I have a question for you. It's always been my understanding that when you have a site visit on private property, that we are not, as a Conservation Commission, permitted to invite the public to come because it's private property. Am I incorrect on that?
If you are going to have a quorum of the commission there at the site visit, then you have to let the public have, and there's going to be deliberation, then you have to allow the public to attend. If the public is not permitted to attend because the landowner won't give permission, which the landowner is free to deny that permission, then you have two choices. A quorum can show up and be on site. They can't ask any questions. They have to save their communications for the next time they meet at an open session, or less than a quorum attends.
Nick?
So, like I said before, we meet at all of our properties, all of our parks, and we make decisions every time we're there. That's where we do our decision making, whether this swing set needs to be fixed, whether mulch needs to be put down there. And to say that second homeowners are limited to come to our meetings, they're welcome to come. They're all private public properties. They can come anytime they want if they care that much about it. They're here most of the summer, and that's when we have most of our meetings, is late spring through the beginning of the fall, which is when they're here. And to limit us, what you're saying is that the three of us go there, we can't say a word to each other about anything. We have to think about it, we have to write everything down, and then we have to schedule another meeting and go back when we have time, which, do you guys have, we're volunteers. Do you guys have this kind of time to now, it will take us 2 meetings to make a decision on something. It's just a little bit ridiculous. If you want to come, you're all invited. They're all posted meetings. We post one every time we go and meet at a property, and you're all welcome to come.
Jim?
I just have one question, being a member of the Finance Committee. How much is the town of Stockbridge, if anything, paying for the current? I believe we have two rooms that it's set up in now. Is there a charge to Stockbridge right now, Michael?
Yes. So we currently use CTSB to host. They host our meetings.
Right.
One thing is they will not be able to host all of our meetings going forward. So there will be some figuring out how we would have to address this. As far as the equipment was purchased already with CARES funds originally, and we're looking to outfit the second room with a similar setup, so we will have 2 rooms available to be used for Zoom. It's cost around $4,000 for those setups. We've already paid for one. Second one would most likely be a request of ARPA funds to the selectmen to outfit the second room, which the selectmen have already instructed me to get information on.
Well, I think it's fair to say that we don't really know the cost, and I would recommend voting this down until they can come back with more definitive answers to all the scenarios that have been raised here. To me, the most important one is the cost. Thank you.
Shelby?
Thanks. I'll be quick. As I said when I started, the intention of this petition article is great. It's the devil's in the details, and I know that there are a number of details that haven't been addressed and should be addressed. The only one that I'm addressing is the one that really hits home because of my commission that I'm on. And while I think it'd be wonderful to make all of our meetings accessible to anybody who cares to attend them in any fashion in which they care to attend them, if making them accessible makes it impossible to hold them, then we've kind of just really ruined the whole thing. I mean, it's just not. What's the point of making on-site visits accessible in a manner in which you cannot even hold the visit in the first place? We might as well just stop having them. So we have to do our business, and we have to do it in a way that's effective, and we make them as accessible as possible. And if they can't be accessible, then at least we have minutes. If it's a public meeting, it's going to have minutes. It's going to be posted. So that's the way it's got to be.
Hi,
Hi, Laura.
I'm Laura Dubester. I think that the intent, I totally support the intent of this petition, and not only for second homeowners, but really for elderly people in inclement weather where it's dark at night or you might not want to drive at night or it's hard to attend a meeting. Having the Zoom option or some other option, I think it makes a big difference. So I think that's very, very important, and I think that the technology is here, and that we have that one positive side effect is that we've realized that technology can make it easier for all of us to know what's going on. I think the attorneys already said that there's no real conflict between the existing meeting law for site visits and public participation and Shelby's the friendly amendment, which enables us to get the work done. So I would encourage passing this with the amendment, and I'm wondering whether or take any action in relation thereto. Would also support a review by the town council and any tweaking that would makes it very, very clear.
All right, as a moderator, I have a question for the audience, the voters. How many here feel you totally understand the issues involved in this? Totally understand it. So you feel you're ready to vote? Yes. Anita, one last shot.
What's that? Well, basically, what we did was take the words of Massachusetts Governor Baker's guidance on holding meetings pursuant to the Act extending certain COVID-19 measures. So we're doing what was already permitted by the governor, and we're just asking to extend it so that it'll be in place once the governor's guidance, it's due to expire July 15th. So if it expires July 15th, we basically wanted to say we would like to continue having remote access to meetings just as we've had since 2020 when the governor passed this law. So the town has supported it by buying the equipment that's needed. CTSB has been wonderful. The residents and part-time residents, everyone has embraced this. It helps with an informed electorate, and we hope that we'll be able to continue holding this. And I'm willing to accept this amendment if that will help get this passed. I just was not aware that this was something, it was not something that was discussed in anything that I read in the open meeting law or this extension of it. So I'm okay with it.
Thank you, Anita.
Thank you, Gary.
I am now going to recognize the call for the question. The call for the question is a privileged motion. And Charlie?
So when somebody makes a motion to call a question, they must be identified and go through the same procedure as anybody else. It does not demand an interruption of the discussion. It has to be voted on. It's a motion.
Right. Well, the discussion was at a pause. Someone moved the question. Sally moved the question. Was it seconded? Seconded. Numerous seconds. So now we go to, now I'm going to take this from the book. It's called the previous question in the book, and it requires a second. It cannot be discussed. It cannot be amended. It does require a 2/3 vote because it is a form of limiting debate. And maybe reconsidered at some future time, and it cannot interrupt. So we've met all the requirements. Now we're going to have a vote, but it's going to take a 2/3 majority, so we're going to use our clickers. All those in favor.
Point of information. We're voting on the motion to move the previous question.
Right.
Not on the amendment.
Not the amendment or the motion.
Original motion. Good.
If this previous question passes, we will then move immediately to the amendment and to vote on the amendment. No further discussion on the amendment. Okay. Polling's open. 1 for yes to the previous question, and we'll have immediate votes. 2 is no, and discussion will continue.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. The motion passes yes 58, no 25, 69.8%.
Close vote, 69.8%, 2/3 is 66.6. We will now then go directly to vote on the amendment as presented, which I will read again. To see if the town will vote to require that all public bodies in Stockbridge provide live, adequate, alternative means to public access to the deliberations of the public body, with the exception of site visits during which deliberations occur, which shall be open to in-person attendance, including without limitation through telephone, internet, or satellite-enabled audio or video conferencing, or any other technology that enables the public to clearly follow the proceedings in real time, instead of or in addition to holding meetings in a public place that is open and physically accessible to the public, or take any other action thereto. So that's the amendment, and our town council tells us that is a legal amendment, and so we're going to vote on that now. All those in favor of the amendment, please press 1. All those opposed, press 2. This is a majority vote.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Yes, 61. No, 24.
So now, the amendment is part of the main motion. So we're now going to vote on the motion as presented. I'm sorry, is there a question? Oh, the count, I'm sorry. It was 61 in favor, 24 opposed. So now the main motion as amended reads, actually, it has to read exactly as the amendment, because the changes only that part of it. So I will read the amendment again. The amended motion. To see if the town will vote to require that all public bodies in Stockbridge provide live, adequate, alternative means of public access to the deliberations of the public body, with the exception of site visits during which deliberations occur, which shall be open to in-person attendance, including, without limitation, through telephone, internet, or satellite-enabled audio or video conferencing or any other technology that enables the public to clearly follow the proceedings in real time, instead of or in addition to holding meetings in a public place that is open and physically accessible to the public, or take any other actions in relation thereto. So basically, the amendment has changed the wording of the main motion to that, which our town council has said is legal. And there are ways that the committees can maneuver where they don't have to meet these requirements, that they can still conduct their business. Article 60 is ready for a vote. All those in favor of Article 60 as amended, please click 1. Opposed, click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling has closed. Yes, 52. No, 32.
Article 60 has passed by a vote of 52 in favor, 32 against. Article 61, again, a petition article. No. What was it?
Point of order?
No, there's no order involved here. Point of question.
Point of question?
Yeah.
Question.
Right.
It's Nina Ryan from Main Street. I wondered if this voting system is secret ballot or if it can track who we are.
No.
Thank you.
Can I pass this candy out while I do this?
Okay, Article 61. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Heather Campbell, 11 Mackinac Road. Article 61 is the longest article. You have all been here. You are amazing. I'm not going to read the entire thing. I will read the resolve. I move the town to adopt the resolution entitled A Resolution to Change the Flag and Seal of the Commonwealth as appears in the printed warrant. Be it resolved that the town of Stockbridge hereby adopts this resolution in support of the work of the Special Commission relative to the seal and motto of the Commonwealth, established by resolve of the General Court in 2020 and appointed by the Governor to recommend changes to the current flag and seal of Massachusetts, and in support of a new seal and motto for the Commonwealth that it may better reflect our aspirations for harmonious and respectful relations between all people who now call Massachusetts home. May I please go up to the stage and use a prop?
Go ahead.
That's it.
The other side.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. This is our flag, and this is our state seal. A native man, a sword of a white soldier above him. I'm going back down. So those are the images that we see. It's the image that we hold up to our nation as the symbol of what best represents us. It's the images our children see. It's on our voter's guide. It's on our official letterhead. It's on our state's highway signs welcoming people to Stockbridge. When we see the seal, children and adults alike are left to interpret what they see and what it means about Native Americans and white people. Imagery and symbols matter. They message what we believe to be true, what we want to perpetuate, what we are literally waving around on our flag, saying, pay attention, Be proud of this. I am not proud of this seal. I'm embarrassed by what I see. The overwhelming interpretation of what the Massachusetts state seal symbolizes flowing on this flag embodies the subjugation of Native Americans through violence. It's what my 13-year-old saw when I showed her this state seal for the first time. It's what my 15-year-old saw. And silence about what this seal indicates to everyone who sees it makes it say, we think it's okay. But it's not okay. And I don't want my 13-year-old or my 15-year-old, and I do not want Indigenous people, especially children, to think that we think this is okay, that this is what the state thinks of them. I don't want people to internalize this message. Indigenous people have spoken out on this topic. Indigenous people who have spoken out on this topic agree. And resolutions in support of changing the state flag and seal have been approved throughout Massachusetts in 46 cities and towns, including Northampton, Greenfield, Ashfield, Plainfield, and Windsor. 3 weeks ago, supportive resolutions similar to this were passed in Deerfield, Bolton, and Belmont. And now, after 37 years of stalling, the state legislature has finally approved legislation, and the governor has appointed a special commission to recommend changes to this flag and seal. 6 Indigenous leaders are now seated on that special commission with state legislators, historians, and the Secretary of State and others. The Indigenous leaders are continuing to call for the flag and seal to be changed, and they need our support. Symbols have weight, they have meaning, they have power. It is time to change the Massachusetts flag and seal, to create a new official state symbol that reflects the mutual respect and connection we want between all people who share the Commonwealth today. I hope that the town of Stockbridge will vote tonight to join this growing list of communities calling on the legislature to make these changes. Your votes matter. What we say here tonight carries weight, just like our state seal. Thank you very much.
I have a question for the petitioner.
Yes.
Have you consulted with the Muncie Indians who have you consulted with the Indians from Stockbridge?
This petition was sent to, I didn't start this petition, but this petition was sent to, I'm going to get the cultural representative, and to Bonnie, help me out, Kate, and to Bonnie. They've all seen it. They did not respond to it specifically, but they have all seen it. It was sent to them to respond to.
No response.
They did not respond.
Okay, is there a second to this petition?
Second.
Petition's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Nick?
So I'm sort of reluctant to take a position against what she's trying to do. However, I'm not a historian, but I studied enough to know that bad things happen in the past. I'm not sure why we should keep reducing the monuments that some people aren't happy with when they actually reflect exactly what happened in our history. Where we live was first called Indian Town. It was a reservation. It was not to be sold. Indians were allowed to live here. I don't know, you know a lot about the history or not. Does anybody know about the Trail of Tears? Does anybody know what we did to the Indians? I'm not proud of it. I'm actually a property owner of a piece of property that when I researched back to its original deeds, there were very small lots, the size of maybe that desk area in this area, that had Indian names on them. It was down by the river. I call it my boat launch. But there were very small parcels where these Indians had their wickias, and they lived there. They were Bedouin people or migratory people. They left the area and came back. Sometimes when they came back, their wickias were occupied by the white settlers, and it became a problem. What did we do with the Indians? We basically drove them out of here. I think they had access to all the land, and then they were kind of driven down to where the river was, where they could survive by hunting and fishing. And then as they left, we replaced them. It was a type of genocide when we gave them smallpox blankets. I'm not proud of this as a white man. I'm against anything like that. But to remove with an eraser history that's been, documented, makes us want to repeat the same failures of the past. And I'm not in favor of removing monuments. I'm not in favor of changing the flag. I want to make one more comment. I've been a member of the golf club in Stockbridge, and we have an Indian logo. And like Gary suggested, we talked to the Muncie Indians, and they were fine with it. I'm not in direct communication, so it's third party. Somebody could correct me if I'm wrong. But I think we have to live with the history that's there so we don't repeat that. I hope that's helpful to people, and I hope I didn't make some enemies.
Thank you, Nick. Any further discussion? Yes.
Brent Wiggins from 20 Prospect Hill Road. I don't think there's any undoing the wrongs that were done in the past. And I don't believe that changing our state seal is about undoing. That thing was constructed by an illustrator in the 19th century using pieces of props from various parts that he conglomerated together to make an image that he sold to the state of Massachusetts. There's nothing so sacred about that. And now, in our time, not seeking to undo, but to say, do something that shows respect. Not that we've forgotten the wrongs that were done, but that we're not perpetuating a symbol with offensive power to those who were wronged. And I don't know what might they might come up with as an image that would be an improvement, but by having a commission that includes the people who are the descendants of those who were so wronged on the commission, I think we stand a better chance of having something that we can all be proud of that represents our state than what we have now. I respect what you're saying, and I understand that history and the richness of it, but this is I think the way it affects those who are descended from the oppressed people warrants change. Thank you.
Patrick?
When I was first elected, actually a senior representative of the tribe contacted me and said, your town seal is a little bit of a caricature. We don't frankly like it. And also the garments that they're wearing are completely historically inaccurate. And it's on the list to kind of deal with this, okay? They also said that helping us with the archaeology is way more important to us, and getting that document that last year that we returned to them is way more important to us than dealing with our town seal. Okay, this is a job that sometimes takes 30 or 40 hours a week. And to Jim's point about the sidewalk, I apologize. We just haven't gotten to it yet. And so this is one, if you want to tell the state to do something great, but I'm going to interpret that as sort of like you're telling us to kind of, deal with our own kind of hometown issue, because we certainly have one that is not that big a deal, but is, the same criticism has been leveled at us, just so you know.
Seeing no further discussion, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Article 62, please click 1. All those opposed to Article 62, please click 2.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polling is closed. Yes.
The petitioner's article has been passed by a vote of 43 to 29, and I would like to now transact any other business that may come legally before this meeting. Seeing none, I have to be very careful here because we're not adjourning, we're not recessing, we are, what's the word? Dissolving until tomorrow when the polls open at 8 a.m. for the election of the following offices: Selectmen, Town Clerk, Board of Assessors, Board of Health, Parks and Recreation 2, Planning Board 2, Water Sewer Commissioner. And at this point, I just want to give a shout out to our Town Clerk, Terry Emilini, who I dearly missed tonight, standing behind me with my bottle of water. And I hope she's back feeling better and here for next meeting.
Thank you.
Dissolve.